Hey friends, welcome back to the show. I'm Jody Salerno, and today we're diving deep into something we all face at some point in our lives: verbal confrontations. Before I begin this episode, I'd like to tell you about my sponsor. It's my sponsors that allow me to do this podcast, so please support them. If you ever have to defend yourself, the fight doesn't end when the threat is gone. Legal trouble, court cost, lost wages, it all adds up fast. And that's where the United States Concealed Carry Association comes in. They provide award-winning self-defense training and education, but more than that, they've secured liability insurance for their members that helps cover bail, legal fees, and other critical costs after an incident. So if you care about protecting what matters, visit usconcealedcarry.com and see why peace of mind is part of being prepared. Whether it's someone getting loud with you in public, a coworker trying to push your buttons, or even someone you love crossing the line at home, it matters how you respond. This episode is all about staying safe, holding your ground, and making sure you never become a victim when words become a weapon. This isn't about yelling back or being the loudest in the room. It's about strategy, clarity, and confidence. And if you stick with me till the end, you're going to walk away knowing exactly how to handle yourself when things get heated. So let's get into it. So how do you handle verbal confrontations like a pro? It's something we've all had to deal with at one point or another. Whether it's a coworker snapping at you, a stranger getting loud in public, or tensions bubbling over at home, words can hit hard. And when emotions run high, how we respond matters just as much as what's being said. Verbal confrontations can either spiral out of control or dissolve into resolution based on one thing: your ability to stay cool, calm, and in control. So let's dive in. First, let's understand the mindset behind confrontation. Most verbal confrontations are about control and testing boundaries. They're often the first step towards escalation, not random outbursts. Think public spaces, domestic dynamics, customer interactions. You want to think about what's really happening under the surface during most verbal confrontations. Why do some people use verbal aggression as a power move? What types of settings are most common for these situations and why? And how can someone recognize early signs that a verbal confrontation may be coming? Let's start by understanding the why. Why do verbal confrontations even happen? Here's the truth. Most verbal aggression is strategic. It's not random. People who confront others with aggression often do it to test your reaction. They want to know, will you get scared? Will you overreact? Will you comply to their demands? According to the Department of Justice, verbal confrontations precede physical violence in over 80% of domestic battery cases. And a 2023 Pew survey showed that over 60% of Americans have experienced public verbal harassment. That's a lot of people being targeted with words that are meant to provoke, intimidate, or control. So when someone gets loud, insulting, or too close, the first 10 seconds are everything. This is where you decide, am I going to stay emotionally neutral and hold my ground, or am I going to let this person hijack my response? Let me paint a picture for you. You're at a gas station, filling up your tank. A guy walks up and says something like, "What are you looking at? Do you think you're better than me?" Now, this isn't a philosophical debate. This is a test. If you bite back emotionally, he escalates. If you freeze, he senses fear. Instead, you pause, you stay still, you keep your voice steady, and you remember, this isn't personal. This is probably a pattern with this person. Recognize it, interrupt it. Because here's the deal. Most verbal aggressors aren't just blowing off steam. They're testing the waters. They want to see how you react, if you'll lose control, submit, or stand your ground. Understanding this is your first step to handling the situation with confidence. There are 3 reasons that people lash out. The first is power and control. They're trying to dominate or manipulate the situation. Fear or insecurity. Their anger usually isn't about you. It's about their own discomfort. Or they're testing boundaries. Some people push limits just to see who pushes back. Verbal aggression is often strategic, not random. Offenders use confrontation to gauge fear, emotional reactivity, and compliance. Most people react emotionally. When they do that, the aggressor wins. Your goal is to recognize the pattern and interrupt it early. According to the CDC, 1 in 4 women and 1 in 4 men report having experienced emotional abuse in relationships, often beginning with verbal control. Verbal confrontations precede physical violence in over 80% of domestic battery cases, according to the U.S. Department of Justice 2022. So a few examples would be someone at a gas station starts insulting you or getting too close. A coworker corners you in a break room and raises their voice. Or a stranger loudly corrects you or calls you names in public. So why is staying emotionally neutral in the first 10 seconds so important in these moments? Staying emotionally neutral in the first 10 seconds of a verbal confrontation is critical because that window is where power dynamics are tested and decided. Here's why. Number 1, it keeps you in control. Those first few seconds are where most people lose their cool. If you stay calm, you're signaling, you don't control me. I'm not playing your game. And that instantly shifts the power dynamic. Number 2, it disrupts the aggressor's strategy. Most verbal aggressors expect a reaction: fear, anger, defensiveness. When you don't give them that, it confuses them. They usually back off or recalibrate because their emotional bait didn't hook you. And number 3, it buys you time. Staying in neutral buys your brain a moment to assess. Am I safe? Is this escalating? What's my next move? This pause helps you respond, not react. Number 4, it reduces the risk of escalation. Your calm body language and steady tone tell the other person and any witnesses that may be around, I'm grounded, I'm not a threat, but I'm not weak. This can diffuse tensions before it turns physical. And number 5, it protects your reputation. In public confrontations, especially in professional or crowded settings, how you handle the moment leaves a lasting impression. Even if the other person is unreasonable, your calm keeps you credible and composed. So the bottom line is the first 10 seconds are your chance to set the tone, protect your dignity, and steer the encounter. Think of it like a safety buffer zone. If you keep your footing there, you can take charge of whatever comes next. Boundaries are your superpower. Boundaries don't make you rude, they make you respected. The clearer your personal boundaries, the less likely others are to cross them. And when they try, you'll know exactly what to say, how to stand, and when to walk away. Boundaries say, this is who I am. This is what I allow. I respect myself enough to enforce that. In the invisible line between safety and danger, verbal boundaries are your first line of defense. They're simple statements with strong delivery, clear, calm, and confident. Enforcing them isn't rude. It's a signal that you're not an easy target. When someone is being verbally abusive, here are some examples of verbal boundaries that you can use. I don't like how you're speaking to me. Please stop. I'm not comfortable continuing this conversation. That's inappropriate. I won't tolerate it. Lower your voice. I'll talk to you when you're calm. But here's what most people miss. It's not just about what you say, it's how you say it. Your tone, your posture, your presence. If you say, please stop, with a shaky voice and eyes on the floor, you're signaling vulnerability. If you say it with a calm voice, direct eye contact, and upright posture, you're signaling power. Practice your boundaries daily. Try it with your kids, your coworkers, even in traffic. The more you do it, the more automatic it becomes. The way you deliver your message, your tone, your posture, your presence can matter more than the words. When boundaries are violated, here's how they do it. Guilt tripping or minimizing. They'll say something to you such as, oh, don't be too sensitive. They shift blame. Say something like, I wouldn't yell if you weren't so annoying. Or they escalate when challenged. These are manipulation tactics, red flags. Recognize them early. Studies show people with weak boundaries are 3 times more likely to attract recurring conflict in personal and professional spaces. FBI behavioral threat assessment reports emphasize that testing verbal boundaries is one of the early signs of a potential aggressor escalating behavior. So you're on a first date and the person starts pushing personal or sexual boundaries. What do? You say, I'm not comfortable with where this conversation is going. Let's change this subject. If it continues, I'm going to end this here. I don't tolerate disrespect. A customer gets hostile at your workplace and starts swearing at you. You can say, I'm here to help, but I won't continue this conversation while you're speaking to me like that. If they escalate, your response is, I'm stepping away now. When you're ready to speak respectfully, we can continue. A family member repeatedly interrupts and insults you at a holiday gathering. Your answer is, I'm not okay with that comment. Please don't speak to me that way. If they keep going, your answer is, I came here for peace, not conflict. I'm stepping away from this conversation. So how can someone practice verbal boundaries daily so it becomes a second nature? You practice by using your voice before there's a problem. You start small. Say, no thank you, without over-explaining. Tell someone, hey, I'm not available right now, and leave it at that. Let's unpack the difference between passive, aggressive, and assertive communication when setting a boundary. Passive is when you stay silent or say yes when you mean no. You give your power away. Aggressive is when you try to take control by force, yelling, blaming, threatening. Assertive is the sweet spot. It's clear, calm, and discreet. You're not asking for permission. You're simply stating the boundary. I don't like that tone. Please stop. You're standing your ground without losing your cool. That's power. You don't wait for a high-stress moment to try it out. You train it like a muscle. Every time you speak up for yourself, even in the little things, you're building the reflex for when it really counts. Okay, so what happens when the boundary isn't respected? Now we de-escalate. Here's how we de-escalate while remaining confident, clear, and in control. De-escalation isn't surrendering. It's emotional aikido, redirecting their energy without letting it stick to you. You say, I'm not interested in arguing. Let's talk when we're both calm. I'm leaving this conversation now. Now combine those words with your body. Open palms, calm face, turn slightly to the side. Deep breathing helps too. If someone is ramping up and you're getting flooded with adrenaline, slow everything down. Speak more slowly, breathe more deeply. Police and healthcare professionals use de-escalation all the time. Why? Because it works. Voice control and calm posture reduce aggression in about 65 to 75% of volatile situations. Let's say a customer is losing it in front of you, yelling about bad service. You can say calmly, I want to help, but I'll need you to lower your voice so we can talk. You're not fueling the fire, you're redirecting the energy. A friend comes at you out of nowhere. You never support me. You're selfish. Resist the urge to get defensive. Instead say, sounds like you're upset. I want to hear more when we're both calm. See the shift? That's power. Powerful doesn't mean loud. Calm is a weapon. It is maintaining safe body language while setting clear verbal boundaries. Your voice is one of your strongest tools in a confrontation. Next time you feel your blood pressure rising, try lowering your voice. It's a power move, not a surrender. When you lower your tone, speak slowly, and stay calm, you take control of the emotional tempo. Your voice control tells other people, you're not rattling me. Your breathing keeps your nervous system regulated so you can think clearly instead of reacting. And I statements, like, I'm not comfortable with that, they shift the conversation away from blame. They make it less likely the other person will get defensive and more likely they'll listen. Neutral language helps de-escalate. Triggering language escalates. Instead of, you're being aggressive, say, let's lower our voices so we can talk. Instead of, you're out of control, say, this feels tense. Let's take a second. Avoid sarcasm, cursing, or insults. Neutral language keeps the situation from exploding and positions you as the calm, steady one. What your body says matters just as much as your words. So stand tall, but not confrontational. Angle your body slightly. Keep hands visible and relaxed. Avoid crossing your arms, puffing up, or pointing. These signal defensiveness or aggression. Look confident, but not combative. Keep your eye contact soft, but steady. When a "that's not okay with me" statement is delivered calmly with grounded presence, it speaks volumes. There's a fine line between diffusing a situation and tolerating bad behavior. Calming means taking control of the emotional temperature without losing your boundaries. Enabling is when you stay silent, laugh it off, or let someone keep crossing the line just to avoid conflict. You can de-escalate without allowing disrespect. Say it calmly, once or twice, and if they keep pushing, you hold the line or walk away. So what are the first things someone should do when a confrontation starts? First, pause and breathe. That split second gives you control over your response. Next, assess the threat. Are they just blowing steam, or could this escalate? Then stay neutral. Keep your face calm, your voice steady, and don't react emotionally. Your goal is to respond, not react. Your body language can either inflame or diffuse a verbal situation. If you have clenched fists, crossed arms, your eyes are rolling, and you're getting into someone's face, that's inflaming the situation. It adds fuel to the fire. If you have open hands, relaxed shoulders, you have a slight physical angle, you're not squared off, and you have calm eye contact, that is diffusing the situation. Your body should say, "I'm not afraid, but I'm not here to fight." So here are your go-to phrases or scripts for de-escalating conflict without sounding weak. I hear you. I'm not here to argue. Let's take a breath and come back to this. I'm not okay with this tone. Let's reset. We can talk, just not like this. These are firm without being confrontational. You're setting the tone, not matching theirs. Don't get pulled in. Repeat your boundary once, maybe twice, but don't argue. Let the other person burn their energy out while you stay grounded. Say, I've said what I need to say. I'm done with this conversation. Then remove yourself, physically or verbally. If it feels unsafe, switch to safety mode. Move toward an exit, alert someone, or use your safety tools. You're not trying to win. You're trying to stay safe and in control. So think about, what's your favorite go-to line when someone's trying to bait you? What if the other person gets louder or more hostile? How do you stay steady? Sometimes, no matter how calm you are, the situation doesn't cool down. That's when it's time to hold your position. You want to hold the line when you're being personally attacked, especially if they're targeting you or someone else unfairly. If you're being bullied or intimidated, no one gets to diminish your dignity. If you have safety concerns, if things are heading toward physical danger, act quickly, either exit or prepare to defend. Know when a situation is no longer verbal and switch from de-escalation to defense. Standing your ground doesn't mean shouting. It means not shrinking. This is where presence, posture, tone, and backup tools come in. Body language tips, eye contact, calm and steady, not aggressive. Your posture should be feet shoulder width apart, shoulders back, chin up. Take up space. Don't collapse into yourself. Don't apologize. Don't smirk or laugh. Stay calm and serious. And yes, sometimes you need backup tools, not because you're weak, but because you're prepared. Some of the gear I recommend would be a personal alarm. Clip it to your bag. It's loud, draws attention, and disrupts aggression. A tactical pen or Kubotan. Pepper spray if it's legal where you live. A safety app that alerts your emergency contacts. A safety code word you can text to a friend. I'm recording this interaction. I've notified someone. Even just appearing confident can change everything. A University of Oregon study found that people who projected confidence were 60% less likely to be targeted in harassment scenarios. You're walking alone at night and someone approaches, asking odd questions. You turn your body slightly, you maintain eye contact, and you say, "I'm not interested. Please step back." Your tone is low, slow, firm. You keep walking. You're not being rude. You're being clear. Verbal confrontations are a part of life, but victimhood doesn't have to be. When you understand the psychology, set strong verbal boundaries, know how to de-escalate, and stand your ground with presence and clarity, you don't just survive those moments, you command them. You don't have to win every argument. You just have to walk away safe and in control. With calm presence, clear boundaries, and smart tools, you can face verbal conflict from a place of strength, not fear. This isn't just about surviving confrontations. It's about owning your power, commanding respect, and making sure the message is loud and clear. I don't tolerate disrespect. I stay calm, I stay sharp, and I stay in control. Now, before you go, do me a favor. Practice using an I statement in a mock confrontation. This week, practice saying, I'm not okay with that, once, whether in traffic, work, or a personal conversation. Download the free verbal confrontation safety checklist in the show notes. Tag me on Instagram at Range of Reality and tell me, what's the last time you had to stand your ground? Want to train these skills? Join the Warrior Woman Vault, where we break this stuff down monthly. Until next time, stay safe, stay sharp, and remember, you're not someone to mess with.